just wonder.
1 out of 50, even if it's a 1 out of 50 chance or 1 out of 100 chance that you commit suicide, you know, that's negligence. That's negligence. You know, any car would be recalled if 1% of people died. I just think at the end of the day that I would never sign a deal that one party is paid to leave, and
That's actually good.
and you're not addressing the lack of quality of women that are on the market today. Men cannot make women want to be wives. And if women don't want to be wives, basically, it's not gonna happen. The other thing is that, you know, if marriage is such a good deal, why aren't men signing up? Good products, technically, they get off the market quickly. Men naturally, they want to do things that make sense. And the issue that you're gonna get is that, again, the quality of women is lower than
Time to execute, strike team. Clock ticking.
And until that changes, until some of the laws change, it's just not a good deal.
So I can sure. Alright, so I want to focus on one very clear fact that refutes Pearl's case. That she has not cited any studies looking at men.
Local areas being
seeing
hit hard
what
by
do
the
they
undead.
I mean, if marriage is such a
They're
bad
coming from
deal,
that stronghold.
we don't need...
You know what to do.
Again, this is correct. You interrupt. Again, not playing the rules. Wait, what was that? Mini canvas? Canva?
Why don't we just ask men themselves? Men, ask married men. Were you given a bad deal? Were you given a raw deal? You go online, you go to Amazon, you go to all other kinds of places, you can see people write product reviews and saying whether they got a bad deal on something. And you should probably trust someone who actually tried the product and wrote a review instead of someone writing reviews about a product they never tried before. And I've already shown the data that married men identify as being more happier than unmarried. They live longer. They're healthier. So marriage is a good deal. It certainly isn't a bad deal. They get many benefits out of that. And Pearl has not refuted that. All she's been reduced to saying is that marriage is a bad deal for men because apparently women aren't worth marrying, which is just not true. She's pointing out flaws in women, but she gives a pass to men. It's a kind of reverse form of simping, if you will, because men also fall. So let's talk about some of the things that she brought up. The issues of being sexless, saying that 20% of marriages are sexless. That's only if you include senior citizens in the entire framework. As I said, the General Social Survey shows that unmarried men are twice as likely to be sexless as married men. So if you're a guy and if that's something that is important to you in your life, marriage is the covenant through which sex makes the most sense, you have the most access to it, and it's the safest and best thing for you and for the children that will proceed from your union. She made a big deal about weight. Women are overweight, women gain 20 pounds in marriage. She's probably referring to the Gordon Larson 2009 study on that, but that same study showed that married men gain 30 pounds over the same period. Unmarried cohabiting women gain 18 pounds during that period, and single women gain 15 pounds during that period. So all that proves is as we get older, instead of growing up, we tend to grow out. That's just life. And it's nice if you get married to have someone else to grow up and out. When mature people recognize that and don't just reject marriage because of the biological factor. Women don't evidence gave to support that conclusion. At least I can look at anecdotally. Think about it in your own life. How many times have you heard a girl lament that her boyfriend, she'd love to get married to her boyfriend, and doesn't want to get married, or he's dragging his feet?
Steelman. Maybe the Steelman Pearl is that the women, at least the liberal women, right, don't behave in a way that makes them attractive to be a wife, but you could say that about the men.
Just dragging her feet. Women are the ones. Women control access. Women control access to sex. Women control asked if marriage is such a good deal, why aren't women signing up? Why aren't men and women signing up for it? So that's like asking if exercise is good for you, why don't more people go to the gym? Why is the gym usually empty? It's because marriage is hard. You have to say no to a lot of things as a man if you choose to get married. You have to say no to things your little lizard brain tells you are good, like trying to hook up with as many women as possible. So people probably don't sign up for it because they don't realize the benefits, and they listen to the lower part of the brain instead of the rational part of the brain that can read studies covering hundreds of thousands of men showing that they're happy to live longer and live more sustainable lives. So, some of the things that, when Pearl brings up, that divorced men are 9 times more likely to commit suicide, she's probably referring to the Kippawosa 2003 study. It's not
They again never married.
That's not men are 9 times more likely to commit suicide or divorced. They're 9 times more like divorced men are 9 times more likely to commit suicide than divorced women. But that's only because men are just more likely to complete suicide anyways than women. They tend to choose more means to do it. So, but when you look at the data, never married men are still just as, if not more likely to commit suicide than divorced men. So that's the comparison fallacy once again. You talk about all of the risks related to marriage, and there are risks, but there are greater risks to being not married. So that shows marriage is not a bad deal. And as I said before, if marriage is such a bad deal for men, if it's so bad, why do 93% of men say they're willing to remarry their wives again if they had the chance? Why do 65% of divorced men choose and going...
Sorry to interrupt, but this is important. The shooter who murdered my sweet little Daniel
get remarried? It's because they recognize maybe someone wasn't right for them, but marriage was still right for them. All right. So we're going to take a quick break, and then when we come back, we're going to have cross-examination. And Pearl, you'll have 20 minutes to drill Trent with questions for whatever you want to follow up on, and then Trent, you'll have 20 minutes. So if you're watching right now, please stick around. Let us know how you think this debate is going in the live chat, and we'll be right back. I want to tell you about a course that I have created for men to overcome pornography. It is called strive21.com/Matt. You go there right now, or if you text STRIVE to 66866, we'll send you the link. It's 100% free, and it's a course I've created to help men, to give them the tools to overcome pornography. Usually men know that porn is wrong. They don't need me or you to convince them that it's wrong. What they need is a battle plan to get out. And so I've distilled all that I've learned over the last 15 or so years as I've been talking and writing on this topic into this one course. Think of it as if you and I could have a coffee for 21 days and I would guide you on this journey. That's basically what this is. It's incredibly well produced. We had a whole camera crew come and film this. I think it'll be a real help to you. And it's also not an isolated course that you go through on your own, because literally tens of thousands of men have now gone through this course. And as you go through the different videos, strive 21 text to 66866 to get started today. I'm going to tell you, which is the number one downloaded prayer in the world. It's outstanding. Hello.com/Brad. Sign it over there right now, and you can get the first 3 months for free. That's like a lot of time. You can decide whether it's useful to you or not, whether it's helpful. If you don't like it, you can always quit. Hello.com/MattFrad. I use it. My family uses it. It's fantastic. There are over 10,000 audio guided prayers, meditations, and music, including my lo-fi. Hello has been downloaded over 50 million times in 150 different countries. It helps you pray, helps you meditate, helps you sleep better, helps you build a daily routine of prayer. There's honestly so much excellent stuff on this app that it's difficult to get through it all. Just go check it out. Hello.com/MattFrad. The link is in the description below. It even has an entire section for kids. So if you're a parent, you can play little Bible stories for them at night. It'll help them pray. Fantastic. Hello.com/MattFrad. Yep, say when. G'day and welcome back to the debate. Before we jump into cross-examination, I want to invite you to consider becoming a local supporter at mattfrad.locals.com. When you do, you get a ton of free perks in return. I just had an almost 3-hour discussion with Jordan Peterson a couple of days ago. That's
Confirmed. Hostile Mosquito is online. Hostile counter UAV
Hostile located. Deploying butterflies.
Appreciate you.
Deploying butterflies.
Confirm that one.
Deploying butterflies. Oh, check your fire.
Hostile UAV in the area.
Deploying butterflies. I'm hit.
Hostile mortar strike near your position.
Deploying butterflies.
Enemy UAV active.
Deploying butterflies. Ammo here.
Close war. Take cover.
Deploying butterfly.
Confirm that one. UAV online.
Deploying butterfly. Almost got it. Almost. There we go. Breathing fast here. Deploying butterflies.
The enemy holds the lead.
I'm getting lit up.
To demand that a wife stay.
Deploying butterflies. There we go.
It would be insane.
Deploying butterflies. Ammo here. Deploying butterflies.
Missile mortar strike in the area. Enemy UAV.
Loading flashback.
Hostile vehicle in the area.
Hostile
Tank
eliminated.
secure. Fuel confirmed. Standing by. Enemy
Deploying
UAV.
butterflies.
Confirmed.
Taking fire. Oh, taking fire. Deploying butterflies. Deploying butterflies. Deploying butterflies. Deploying butterflies. Ammo here.
This is the Destiny and the debate with I forget that other so-called like this is probably the debate that like made me
There we
angry.
go.
Physically, you need to see actually. You can actually see him actually being
UAV
annoyed.
active.
Deploying butterflies.
Overhead. In the area.
Say time each one should each.
Deploying butterflies. There we go.
Mission failed. Return to base.
You got a line.
Should men marry women that have had abortions?
Should men marry women
Yes or
that have
no?
abortions?
Should men marry women that have had abortions?
I wouldn't say it's a deal breaker.
Should
men
be.
marry women with STDs?
Those should be deal breakers.
So they've ever seen someone who's just kind of coasting along, just kind of managing their life, get things done.
And say, here, let me
Should men marry them?
answer. I would answer. Just, I would say, just as is not a disqualifier for if a man facilitated an abortion, and 90% of, so for every woman who chooses to get an abortion, 90% of the time, the man is actively or passively supporting it. So just as it's not a deal breaker for a woman,
I'm asking for the future man. I'm not saying this that he asked her to abort his. This is another man's. She's had an abortion.
what I'm saying is I'm applying an equal standard here. So I would say that it is not a deal breaker for a man to marry a woman who's had an abortion, but I think it's a deal breaker for a woman to marry a man who had facilitated an abortion.
Should men marry women that have slept with over 10 men?
Should they marry someone who's slept with over 10 men? I would say that when you have more sexual partners, that's definitely that's something that's concerning. That could be part of the United
So you would
But
say
that,
no?
but that doesn't apply. I'm not going to say that someone is unmarriageable because of one particular
What
trait.
about porn?
Okay, what
Women that have participated in porn should men marry women who have participated in porn?
I would say that that's definitely a red flag, but it is not it's not a deal
Do you
breaker.
have a son?
I can ask the questions, because you can keep asking questions and I'll never answer.
Because it just would be easier if I got a yes or no. Because you keep giving me these roundabout and you said yes or
I'm
no.
giving you good answers. I guess I'd like to finish on pornography. I would say it's not a deal breaker if a woman had participated in pornography. Much the same way, it is not a deal breaker. Well, it's something to be very, very important. So I'll answer it this way. It's very hard for me to find anything that's a deal breaker for marriage, except for maybe diagnosed severe mental illness, for example, or addiction to drugs, things like that. So when it comes to pornography, I would say it's very concerning.
Capture and keep hold of the enemy. We're taking Charlie.
Just like it is very concerning.
Charlie.
Maybe that's my question. It's like, why can't men have standards?
We're taking Charlie.
Just from the track community, we're concerned about
Bravo. We're losing Alpha.
maybe we should marry women. You know, it's like we
Porn stars up.
constantly get rid of standards.
Well, I find standards as long
And
as
we can't even marry, no, you're not. But
Enemy.
we should marry a monster. You would never be able to marry a
active marriage.
Lead the fuck! There we go!
Enemy securing Bravo. Securing objective Alpha.
People going out!
Charlie. Enemy taking Bravo. We're taking Alpha. We're losing Charlie.
Destroying butterflies!
Enemy securing Bravo. We lost Bravo.
That would be a man that's participated in it.
I would agree with Pearl there. See, she did bad in this debate. I think Trent destroyed her,
Giving it up!
educated her. But she is correct there.
Destroying
To
butterflies!
say that, like, a man who was viewed should not be marriageable compared to a woman,
Check your fire!
what's it called?
Charlie.
Like, I'll give her credit for that. To make it analogous, a woman who has participated in pornography, right?
Taking fire!
It should be, to make it equivalent, it should be a man.
Securing objective Charlie.
It should be a man who's like also participating, who's also like a male porn star, or he like it's basically what Andrew Tate did in his heyday before he got famous, like that type of stuff. That would make it. If a man did that, like Andrew Tate, then yeah, that's definitely not someone
UAV online.
or a male porn star. There's not a whole lot of. I mean, there's a lot, but you know.
Securing Charlie.
Hostile eliminated! Destroying butterflies!
The enemy has captured 2 objectives.
Deploying butterflies! Needles up! Wrong thing! Stop changing guys! Getting me up!
I understand both of their frustrations, and this is a very common feminist, and obviously Trent not a feminist, at least most way you can find it.
Taking fire!
So, Pearl is correct.
Deploying butterflies!
Pearl is correct. They are talking about from men's perspectives.
Deploying butterflies! There we go! Deploying butterflies! It's going out!
We're taking Bravo. We're losing Charlie.
Talking about, like... Sorry, I was thinking about something about college. But from men's perspective, right?
Securing objective Bravo.
I understand their frustration, right? I understand both sides. They make both points. I think Trent Horn won. They do make both good points. I don't think she proved her case well enough. She did have a lot of counterpoints, but she does make some good points. The one good point she said, as I stated, is if you're gonna make it to make a more analogous, if it's a woman who participated, it should be a man who's participating. And there are a lot of men who do participate in pornography, obviously. Like if you were a male porn star, or if you made those videos, yeah, that's how you make it more analogous. Like if it's a person who was a drug dealer, right? You have to make it more analogous, right? You were also a drug dealer because you're actually involved with like the participation of that or the creation of that product or service. So, and that's to be fair. Now, in this case, I understand under a normal conversation, if this is just a normal conversation, not a debate, yeah, I understand with Trent Horn. You cannot point out one side and ignore the other side. That's true. However, the debate, the prompt refers specifically to men, and I get very, very, very irritated when I post lives about abortion and other things, right? It's a very feminist tactic. The prompt, and Matt Walsh, and there's a lot of Matt Walsh videos that I, of course, watch Matt Walsh a lot. Not as much as I used to, obviously. But there's a lot of videos that he has, and the prompt is about women. Because some of them is about women, right? And he, in a very common type of comment, he has, oh, what about the men? What about the men? What about the men? What about the men? It's like this whataboutism thing. What about the men? What if it's, you hear this all the time. So like whenever there's a video, like always, a viral video, or just any video that criticizes women, I notice, and it's not just the feminists, it's like a lot of women in general, whenever you have a video that criticizes women, right, there's always the phrase, what about the men? What about the men? Like, it's every single time. We're not saying there's nothing wrong with men. Men have their own problems. Here's the thing I get very irritated. The video is referring specifically to women. So when you ask, and I'm not blaming Trent Horn for this, when you ask, I did one of the philosophy, but like, when you ask this question, it's silly, because the prompt, or the debate, is very good for men. I will agree with her, right? The question is very good for men, referring specifically to men. Or, sorry, you're referring from a male perspective. You're not referring from a woman's perspective. If the prompt is marriage good for women, then yeah, you'd be referring from a woman's perspective. But you're not.
We're losing Alpha. Friendly cluster mine planted. Enemies taking Alpha.
Switching mags.
We're losing Alpha.
Tossing tactical.
Enemies taking Alpha.
Loading fresh mag.
Friendly precision airstrike inbound. UAV on the Securing objective Bravo.
higher.
Taking Charlie. Enemy taking Alpha. Mission compromised. We failed.
Dang, I died that many times. Yes.